And, all right, good morning, Eddie. How are you today?
Pretty good, Regan. How are you?
Doing great, man. I enjoyed your content, and I really liked seeing the stuff you were putting out there. Are you narrating some of those meal plans that you were showing on Instagram?
Oh, am I what? Sorry.
Are you narrating all that?
Yeah, it's all me. It's all
That's
me.
all you?
No,
Okay,
nobody else.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So the workout stuff, I was watching some of your stuff. You've been doing this for quite a while. How long have you been hitting that gym and doing all the stuff you've been doing?
I mean, I played high school more than 10 years. I played. I graduated '09 high school, and I was playing football. So we definitely were in the weight room in there. So we've been doing this for a while. I come from a big family of six boys, and two of them are personal trainers. So we've
Wow.
been we all kind of compete with each other, I guess.
Six dudes. That's great, man. I got six kids. It took six tries to get one dude.
It's always
So,
fun. You always have something to do with six or with five brothers. So
yeah, I can't imagine. That's got to be awesome, man. Is everybody close? Does everybody live near each other?
actually, that's why I'll never leave the Bay Area. We are all pretty close. We're luckily well off where we can kind of stay in the area. There's always one though, right? There's the oldest that's kind of like a little on the other side, but everyone else is a tight knit group.
All right, fair enough. That's very cool, man. Very cool. So, got a question. What got you started in putting out the content? What was the
Putting out
motivation?
content was the main motivation was when I wanted to get into nutrition and fitness and getting fit. Like I wanted to get lean, right? I was a little pre-diabetic as a kid. Um, there was a lot of stuff out there that may or may not have been the best for me to see right away. And maybe they were just trying to sell a program or something. So it's just stuff that like I literally wish 10 years ago was there for me. And that was the main motivator for myself. I don't want to be known as the fitness guy, but I think there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't agree with. So I mean, instead of just complaining about it and just being in the background, might as well put something out there that I could put my name to and be proud of.
That's awesome. And so many people need it anyways because you never know what version is going to be the one that sticks for someone that needs it.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. I honestly debated it for a while because I don't know if you know, but I'm a surgical nurse at Stanford, and just by saying that, people start giving you credibility, whether you deserve it or not, right? So I'm very careful about what I say sometimes, and I know people will take more weight into those words, and so it's hard. It is hard just to kind of like 10 years ago, I could have said whatever, nobody listens. Now people listen.
No, I respect that. What motivated you to get into nursing? What was the catalyst that got you driven to do something like that?
Well, for sure, I graduated high school in 2009. I don't know if you know, I'm sure you do. 2008 was the big crisis, right? And I saw my dad, who was, kind of prospering and in business and in real estate, kind of hit rock bottom and lost some properties, was struggling with the business. And I saw as soon as they wanted small businesses to have health insurance, like that was a big thing, right? Health insurance was like this thing that everybody talked about, Obamacare and everything. So me going into or finishing high school and kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, I just knew I wanted to be in something that was one, I was going to get good health insurance, but two, get paid enough where I wasn't going to be worried whether it was a good or bad economy about making meals, making ends meet. So that was the main mindset. And there's always like the traditional doctor route that everyone talks about as far as like immigrant families, doctor, lawyer, accountant, whatever. And I just saw when I looked into it, like I just saw lots of debt, lots of school, and things that I just at 19 years old, I'm like, forget that. So the faster route for me was to be in the medical field still, because right, in a good and bad economy, that's going to be people still get sick, unfortunately, and people still need help. And what I saw at the time for whether it was like Indeed or Salary.com, I was like, nurses get paid well, so especially here in the Bay Area. So that was like the determining factor: money and security, I guess.
Great foresight. Being 2009, that was a pivotal move. That was probably like half as important as like the COVID thing. Who would have
Yeah,
saw things
yeah,
move
yeah,
so much in 2009? I did construction for years with my dad, and we had the same issue where things had to change a little bit. There was no going down that same path without
yeah.
a lot of resistance and a lot of friction and a lot of weight. My father got back into it, but I ended up going into nursing myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
Again, you got kids, you got responsibilities, and you're looking for security. You're looking. I saw the same thing at the same time, man.
What specialty in nursing are you in, Regan?
I'm a CNA at the VA hospital.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Much needed and lots of work there.
Yeah, the VA pays really good. I've been very blessed. I'm very fortunate to have everything I have. Moving to Texas made the paycheck a little bit stretch a little bit further, so
You went
that
from
helps.
California to Texas?
Connecticut to Texas,
Okay,
so the
okay.
opposite direction. Everybody else is coming from California.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We'll pay the taxes here. I think spending holidays with my family is worth the taxes that we have to pay here. So I'm not going
yeah, I
anywhere.
agree. I miss my family a lot. I have a big family, and I do miss that. So there was a trade off,
Yeah, 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 for sure.
but everybody has to make that choice, though.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so with the workout stuff, man, do you see a limit with that? Is that something you're just going to keep pushing on TikTok? Is that something you're going to keep pushing on Instagram? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, man,
Specific.
you're pretty jacked, dude. I don't think you can go much further than you are, can you?
uh, well, who knows, right? I could say one thing and all of a sudden go eat a bunch of chicken and rice and go deadlift something heavier tomorrow. But as far as like being growing up, right? I was pre-diabetic as a kid. Got into fitness because actually, when I was playing football, I tore my AC joint, right? So that's the basically a big bone was popping out of my shoulder, and I was playing, and I wanted the trainer just can you just pop it back in? Let me get back in there. He's like, no, you idiot! Like we don't know what it is, and the good thing they did it because it wasn't like a socket thing, and that's what I thought it was. It was something I needed surgery for, and so the thing with that is the recovery aspect takes about 8 to 12 weeks, and at the time as a 20-year-old that seems like a long time, even though in hindsight that's like nothing, right? But um so I got literally got tired of sitting on my butt and watching TV, and like literally my butt was just sore from just sitting all day. So I got into nutrition because I couldn't train, I couldn't lift. Maybe I got like some steps in or something by walking, but it was mainly nutrition that got me in shape first. So that's kind of like it was a blessing in disguise where I kind of realized that nutrition is a big part of it, and I was confused at why it wasn't so preached, it wasn't so out there. Specifically for my brothers who are trainers, right? There's no emphasis on the intricacies of nutrition. It's more just kind of like eat healthier, don't eat shit, stop
Yeah,
drinking.
I wonder why that is. I don't understand that either because it's a pivotal part of this whole scenario. Actually, it would have been good for people in the last couple of years with health concerns. I don't understand why it's not advocated all the time. Even the pyramid looks like it's off a little bit. I know that protein is huge. It's something I've definitely focused on the last like year or two. I lost a little bit of weight myself. Being a little bit
Nice,
older,
nice.
I don't think it's as easy. I'm 44. It takes a lot more effort and time to get to a maximum potential.
Yeah,
So my
I
question to
agree.
you,
I agree.
man, my question to you, where do you see cardio in your whole scheme of things? Is it the best for just losing weight? Do you see it impeding any muscle gain? Because I hear guys say I don't want to run because then it's going to ruin my muscle gain, and I don't know where the balance is. Do you know where a good balance is for that?
As I stare at my Peloton in the living room, I'm a big advocate for getting 30 to 45 minutes every day. Um, That's just what I do. Whether it's a steady state you're watching TV or you're doing, interval training on there, I specifically choose either the Peloton, the elliptical, or the bike, something that's low impact because I'm gonna do it every day. I don't like running. I think running is great for your lungs. I think running is great for maybe getting that runner's high. I think running is great for losing a lot of weight. I don't think it's the best to look great. So I don't do any running, right? So as far as cardio, I would say something that you can do every day. I do it first thing in the morning, usually after my cup of coffee. So I'll probably be doing it after this, before breakfast, just because it kind of sets my day. Just that the foundation of like my health is first, right? Because not only is it fat burning, but it's also cardiovascular. It helps your heart, as you know, and then also just kind of getting everything working in the morning kind of just starts your day with a win. So I'm a big fan.
Okay, so you're not into the huge impact, and you don't think running is going to help with your bodybuilding part. So do you think it
Yeah.
hurts at all? Do you think if I wanted bigger pecs, I should stop running? Because I run like a mile and a half every day. But
Yes,
I'm not. I'm not
100%.
running hard though. I'm only running like 6.5, 6.75 mile an hour. I'm not like a full, like I'm not crushing it. I'm just like a fast jog.
What is it? What is the goal out of running for you?
Okay. Well, I was pretty unhealthy. I was almost 300 pounds like a year and a half ago. When COVID hit, hearing what everything was going on and how I would be a higher risk for everything, I decided I was going to lose that 100 pounds. I'm at a 190. I do a lot of crunches. I do a little bit of upper body. But the goal is just to be as healthy as I can. But at 44, I got 6 kids. My youngest is 6 years old. They need me. And being diabetic or being sick really isn't an option. My income's the only income, man. So I guess I do want to look the best I can. I mean, you've got a few years younger than me, so I don't see myself ever reaching that pinnacle that you're making. But if I was to try to bulk up a little bit more in my 40s, is there any faster way to do it?
Well, I think take away the faster, right? You're 40, but my average client is about 60 years old,
Really,
and
really.
yeah. And I actually just tested someone's body fat this morning. He's 68 and he's at 9% body fat, right? So
That's pretty
I can
good.
only tell you the key performance index that I see on average on based on what I see from guys that I work with.
Okay.
And so I can tell you, everyone lifts 4 to 5 times a week. They're all my brother's clients, right? So they would lift, and I know the way to lift because I specifically plan the workouts with my brother. I'm not gonna work. I'm not gonna train them. I'm in the hospital, but I know they lift 5 times a week at least at the minimum. They try to do more because it does get addictive, but that's one aspect. Everyone does cardio. Everyone does 30, 45 minutes of cardio. Everyone tracks their steps. I get everyone Fitbits. This is like the cheap generic one on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just track your steps. Everyone hits 10,000 at least. If not, I get on them. And then everyone has a specific diet that I gear. Everyone has their own diet that I adjust and gear based on their goals and the rate of fat loss or muscle gain they're actually doing.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. I'm really thankful I talked to you. That wasn't why I had this podcast with you at all. But it gives me a little bit of encouragement that the effort I put in was worth it and that I'm not in such a terrible position.
This is
Being
already a
40.
win if you get something out of this, Regan.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, 44, I thought it was too late for anything. I thought I've already pushed everything to the limit. Yeah, I did construction with my dad for a decade. I thought I was healthy enough, but you get used to eating a lot because you're outside burning so many calories. You get a
Yeah,
little
for
bit
sure.
older, you drink a beer, you eat a little bit too much. The kids don't eat the food, so you eat their food. And before you know it, working in the hospital, not being outside, and still eating at that same level, or late 20s, without all that exercise, it got out of control pretty quick. And I'm kind of
Yeah.
glad I brought myself around.
Yeah, with those habits, I agree with you. You are old at 44. If those are your habits, right? Drinking, kind of eating crazy, and but like
Yeah.
realistically, we are all kind of pushing 100 now, right? So really, you're just a little puppy. You're a little kid if you start changing your habits and start eating healthier, working out, like the things that you're talking about, right? So you're gonna be able to push your life expectancy from these habits, and it just changes your lifespan.
Not only that, but I find that the discipline is an amazing tool for your mind in general. And I heard you actually touch on this a little bit. Number one, I did want to be healthy, so I did want some results. It wasn't that I didn't want that. But the mindset you have to be to get up early in the morning, the mindset to say, I'm going to do this anyways, draining the battery when you do cardio. Do you find that if you do low impact cardio for 45 minutes, the heart rate goes up to like 140, whatever it is that you get? Do you find that that's satisfying for draining the battery in and of itself?
I actually find I have more energy after doing my cardio, kind of just like that endorphin rush and that win. And as far as heart rate, I do monitor it and I want it to be 125 to 150. Anywhere in that range, I'm happy. Under 125, you're probably watching too much TV, you're probably reading something, you're probably not really focused on your cardio. Above 150, you're kind of pushing it to more endurance exercise, and that's not the purpose of it, right?
Yeah, okay, okay. That's good. See, I'll be honest with you, I'm winging this. I've been winging this for 2 years, basically.
Hey, we all did in the beginning, and we all kind of are
Yeah.
still.
Well, at the beginning, I didn't have any money, man. I didn't have any money, so I wasn't even going to the gym. I was literally just running, walking, and doing whatever I could do.
Yeah, yeah.
And then finding out when was the best time to do it, finding my own meals, all that discipline and all that stuff I kind of had to do on my own. Because as soon as I made that decision, everything was kind of shut down, and there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to talk to anybody. Everybody at work doesn't really do a whole lot. There was a couple ladies that did, but I found myself alone for a little while, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a fun journey. It's a
It
fun
is.
journey
It's
if
an
you figure
amazing
it
journey,
out.
and I appreciate it. Now, I do find myself when I number one when I said drain the battery, I meant mentally drain the battery, not physically. Because you're right, I find myself to have 1,000 times more energy than I ever had before. But I find that I'm not overthinking stuff as much. The more I push
Oh, okay.
myself on the cardio, because when you sit and watch TV for hours, you start thinking about stuff you wouldn't think about otherwise. When you're sitting around not doing a whole lot with your life, you go back and look at other things, and what ifs become
Woe is me and
yeah,
all
yeah,
this stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, for
And you
sure.
get way into that way too quick, and
Yeah.
I find that all that's gone. I mean, it's completely gone, and I look forward to running in the morning. Maybe I don't need to run. Maybe it is a lower impact cardio I need. I'm not sure exactly because I do want. I don't see a whole lot of muscle tone anymore to where I want to be. So I think I'm going to slow down on the running part and see if I can not get swole, but you know what I mean, get a little more jacked than I am.
Are you doing outside or on a treadmill? What are you
I'm
doing?
doing everything inside, doing everything in the treadmill. I've got a gym that does. It's got a whole floor dedicated to the treadmills and the ellipticals and all that stuff. They have a whole room dedicated to bikes, but then they have downstairs where all the weights, free weights. What do you call it there? The yard. They have a big yard indoors.
Oh,
Then
cool,
we have
cool.
a Olympic swim pool, a hot tub, and a sauna. So I hit the sauna. I even play around with a ice bath once in a while. But
Yeah.
I'm just winging stuff as I go, and it's kind of fun to just try things out and see what you're willing to
Oh yeah.
do. And I like the challenge of being uncomfortable once in a while too.
Ignorance is fun. When you don't know what you're doing and you're just kind of figuring it out, that's the fun part. It's when you're expected to know everything. That's the hard part, and you really don't want to veer someone on the wrong end. But two things, right? I don't want to take away something that you enjoy, running. So my thing would be just maybe do 20 minutes of sprints or high intensity, and then do the next 20 walking.
Okay.
That's what I would do. 30
Yeah.
seconds on, 30 seconds sprint, all you can do, and then 60 seconds rest, and then intervals until 10 to 20 minutes, whatever you can do. And then two, the reason I say, and whoever is listening, the reason I have such a strong, I'm against running so strongly is because I work in surgery and I see the guys that need knee replacements. A lot of them are runners, right? And you'll tell them it was because of running, but they won't stop, right? So I know it's like there's a passion for running. And I mean, coming from someone that did sports and all that, so I get it. But as far as muscle building, fat loss, and being technically longevity, it's actually not the best thing. And
Especially when we're
that's my
talking
point of
100
view.
years. We're literally talking about 100 years being a norm. So you're
Yeah.
right on
Yeah.
that. Who wants to replace their knees at 50 and know that you're going to have to do it again at least one more time if you want to walk for another? Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So maybe I will second think that a little bit, or put. I do notice that there's less pain on the treadmill, and I was doing it on concrete the first like 6 months. So now when I do run outside, I do it on dirt, and I do notice that there's a lot less impact on that.
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
bet.
I wish there was a track around here that the high school had open that was made out of rubber. That would be even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
We
yeah,
do
the
what we
gym.
can with what we have, right?
Yeah. Because there was no stopping me. Once my mind was made up, I was going to do this. Ended up, I had to do it at 4:30 in the morning with all the kids and everything
Wow.
else. There was no other
My
choice,
fa-
man. Full
my
time
favorite
job.
hour.
Yeah.
My favorite
I actually
hour.
look forward to making my bed. I look forward to all the other little weird things that have become my idiosyncrasies in the morning. You know, they're mine.
Routine.
Yeah, they're my routine now. They're mine. I'll be honest with you. If I was to stop everything, it would probably unravel the fabric of my reality because you get so used to it now. You know,
I would
I
say go a week doing that. Go a week stopping everything and realize that it's you that runs the show, right? You're not a victim to your routine. You are the man that keeps this going, right?
that's
So I
true.
used to think like that, wherever I need to wake up early and I do all these things. If not, I'm not right. And then
Yeah,
just flip
yeah, it's
it.
hard
Just flip it.
sometimes. Well, you know what? I have. I was doing it 7 days a week. Then I was doing it 5 days a week. And now on my Saturday and Sundays, I do not do any of that. And I'll stay up a little bit later, wake up a little bit later, maybe let one of the kids wake me up. So I am kind of hitting that equilibrium where I'm trying to
Yeah.
come back to a reality center. But it took like a year to really be willing to do it because there was so many years of laziness and
Oh
bad
yeah. Yeah.
behavior and you justify some of it too, man. So, I want to keep moving because I know we only have like an hour or so.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem.
I have noticed that when I do go down this road, you drain the battery, you become a better person, you start expanding your willingness to move into other aspects of life because you're like, okay, I've semi conquered this. I've got this new part of me that has the ability to conquer. I would like a new project to do. So then I find myself wanting to dabble in stock market, dabble in real estate, dabble in the podcast. And I saw that you have yourself a little 6 unit piece of property over there. I saw that when I was looking through your Instagram and stuff. What motivated you to get into that? Is that something that you always wanted to do? Is that something your family does?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Good snooping on the Instagram there. I'm very lucky, very fortunate to say I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, right? So my dad put in the framework. He came here as an immigrant, and he kind of lived the typical like California or American dream, where he worked his way up from an employee, eventually bought the building he worked at, and became the owner, and bought properties in the '90s and had real estate. But he also lived a downturn, right, of losing properties in 2008 and that time. So what I saw and what I learned from that was that he had the right formula, which is work your ass off, go buy properties because number one asset in most successful people is real estate. And last time I checked, they're not making any more land in the U.S. or in the world. So real estate's always going to be expensive and go up in value. My take was that we shouldn't be buying single family houses. We should be buying duplex, fourplex, things where if we lose one renter, I've seen it when he lost a renter in his building and all of a sudden he was struggling to go find one more renter, or like the turnaround is the most expensive part. So I thought instead of buying a house first, right? Because as a nurse in the Bay Area income, you're making good money. Instead of buying a house first and then like maybe buying an investment property, let's buy investment properties first. And my dad thought that was a great idea, and he always kind of wanted to do something together with all the boys. So we did create our own little group that bought real estate together.
I love it. That's
We
fantastic. I'll be honest with you, man. That's an amazing story because I've been telling my kids this for a little while that we should work together to better everybody and not just have everybody independently doing all these independent things where you pay $2,000 a month for your rent, you pay $2,000, $3,000 a month for your house, and before you know it, no one's investing in anything because everybody's just trying to get by.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be
yeah, it's
nice
hard.
if
It's hard.
wouldn't it be nice if there was 5 or 6 cars out in that driveway and we just shared them?
Yeah, yeah.
You feel
And we're
like
all
it?
looking out for each other, right? And
Yeah.
like, you trust your brother more than anyone else. You
Who,
trust your dad, or
yeah. If you can't trust your dad, who can you trust?
that's what my dad says.
Yeah. No one has a better vested interest in you succeeding than your dad.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
takes a while to learn that, though. Your 6-year-old is gonna have to learn that till he's like 20. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
But
it takes a
nonetheless,
while.
man, your story is amazing. So I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's something I'm learning
No,
too.
no, no. Great.
Go ahead.
No,
So
you're
your
good.
dad was investing. You said, and I did it backwards. I bought a house. I should have bought a duplex. Man, I'm
That's what
so
everyone did at the
frustrated.
time, right?
Yeah.
When I told my dad that I wanted to do that, he said, "No, buy a house first. Like buy security." I was like, "Forget the security, Dad. I don't even know if I'm gonna be here in 5 years. Like, let's get an investment property. Let's get that going, and then society will tell me to go buy a house no matter what, because they always say you're renting, you're wasting. Like I'm currently renting here, even though I have all these units. Actually, we're in the middle of closing our next apartment, so we're probably going to go up to 10 units in the next month or so. Um,
Congratulations. That's cool, man.
but it's because of that, right? Where I'm renting, so my cost is low for the most part. There are luxury apartments, but it's just, the rent, the payment's low, and the capital I would have put in a house, I'm just never putting it in a house and always putting it in an investment property. But anyways, we did it, LLC. We call it Las Lara Casa, which is a play on LLC, of course. Casa is Spanish for house, and it's just kind of, Las Lara was kind of my battle cry in 2018, where I was going to say, like, this will be the last generation of Laras, that Lara is our last name, that has to worry about money. Like the next generation, and then so on, they're going to prosper because of this generation's time and effort and work. So that was kind of the battle cry that I had for myself going.
I love it,
So
man.
that's where that came from.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
if you think about it, if you don't do it, the next generation has to start all over and try from the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
nothing's nicer than being able to say, I started something, I changed a trend, I changed the trajectory, I moved the whole family a little bit further than they expected. And
yeah. And my dad started that. And my dad started. He came from Mexico. He illegally came here and worked his ass off. Never took. Prides himself on never taking Social Security checks, never taking donations. He just works, 16, 18-hour days. Busted his balls while his other family members maybe thought he was crazy. He had some bigger picture in mind, and I'm just carrying that on for him.
well, I think the key is having that bigger picture in mind. So if you're
Yeah,
aiming in the right direction, that's great. So you shoot your arrow and you miss the target, but now you know a little bit higher, a little bit lower, a little bit left, whatever
yeah,
it be. But
yeah,
if you don't have a higher goal to get to, once you hit the target, it's kind of like the video game's over. There's nowhere else to go, and
yeah,
you can lose momentum trying to find the next target. So having that greater picture, having that, it's amazing that your ability to articulate such a profound way of looking at things is fantastic, man.
Thank
This
you.
is one of the things I'm
Appreciate it.
looking for in my podcast is what motivates someone to do more than the average person. What makes someone throw themselves out there, put themselves out there? Because it takes a level of bravery to throw yourself out there. It's easy to get criticized and give up. It's easy to have the normal tell you you're putting too much in. And most people don't mind you succeeding as long as you don't succeed beyond the level they're at. So you
Yeah,
got a lot of forces around you that are quick to stifle your creativity, stifle your intellect, stifle your goals, and it seems like you're plowing through, and it's almost irrelevant. And I'm looking for that magic sauce. I really am, because once I started feeling I needed that momentum, I wanted to. I noticed a lot of other people doing it, and what makes a 1%? Because no matter what, there's always a 1%. We try with all these different like forms of government and all these other things, and through the span of time, there's always been a 1%. So I'm like,
Yep.
what makes that 1%? There's got to be something different. There's got to be a factor. It can't just be luck. It can't just be greed. It just can't be aggression. Because I'm sure back in the day, having a sword in your hand gave you a huge leverage on some, but it can't be the only thing. It can't be. There's got to be
Yeah.
something inside that's different.
I think just thinking bigger, right? And Thanksgiving was just a few days ago, and I see my nephew, right? He's like he's over one now, and I'm just like, and my niece too, who's four, and I'm just like, I'm gonna set this up for them where they don't have to beg anyone for money. My niece will never ask for a man's for help or a man for help or anything like that. They're gonna be in such a place of control in their lives and options that they'll be like, "Thank you, Uncle Eddie. Thank you, uncles. You guys set us up." And then thank you, Grandpa, my dad. Um, they're gonna be well off, and that's what pushes me. Because for me, for myself, I'm okay with sleeping at my mom's house and just playing video games all day with nursing income and just chilling for the rest of my life, right? But there's a bigger picture here. If I was very selfish, I'd be fine and content with where I am. But I think just bigger timeline is what I'm thinking of. Right, this is for the next generation and the generation after that. That's what this is pushing me for.
Great motivation, man. Great perspective. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
one
for
of the
sure.
magic moments is when the mind works with you, because your mind is like your greatest asset by far. And
For
I
sure.
think a lot of
For
people,
sure.
especially like when you said your father was working hard and everybody else around him was kind of like, "What the hell are you doing?" Reality is their minds weren't right, man. Their minds were almost like defeating themselves. Whereas your dad's mind was like, I could already see three targets ahead, man. He's playing a chess game while they're playing checkers. And I think that's one of the major contributing factors is getting your mind right. So, how big is family for you? Again, I was doing a little snooping and I saw you hanging out with I think it was your brother and his kids there, and you were reading a book to your niece there, and you had a hashtag that said, "Call me Uncle Sucka," and
Yeah.
I thought that was very cute because I do a lot of goofy stuff with my kids, and I love my kids to death. And how important is family for you, and how often do you spend time with your family?
uh, I mean, obviously from this conversation so far, I think, kind of quickly understand how important it is to me, right? So it's very important. And I mean, I feel like it's almost cliche to say, right? Everyone like love family and everything, but we truly are a tight group. So that's something that we will always be. And my father and one of his brothers fought, and at some point they didn't talk for years, and now that uncle of mine is dead, and so they can't even talk, right? So it's something that we you learn from past behaviors, right? And I always like ask my dad about like how my uncles are, and from learning about how they were as kids, you learn little things that maybe are in our genes, and we try to like maybe we should be mindful of, and we try to avoid. So um, family is big not only because these are the guys you grew up with, but family is big because I can learn so much from the people before me. So that's why it's so big for me. How often do I see them? I see my parents once a week at the minimum. My mom will hit one of my brothers up and be like, "Hey, Eddie hasn't come by," in more than a week. Where is he okay? So we definitely all check in at some point and throughout the week with the parents. Ideally, because every Sunday my brother brings over the niece and his kids, brings them over for my mom's for breakfast, pancakes in the morning. So ideally, if we can, Sundays has been notorious that it's the one day my mom didn't work for us growing up, so we always had Sunday breakfast. So we do try to keep that going, but besides that, it's hit or miss. Like I saw him this morning for a quick 20, 30 minutes, and then you go on about your day. Everyone's so busy, and we do try to see each other often, though.
Good deal. Yeah. Yeah, I find that to be another big factor, man. If you can learn from your family, there's no better catalyst to personal growth. And the arguing, I'm not gonna lie to you. In the past, and I regret this, you be in a room with a bunch of people you love and argue over politics. Something you saw on the news that these people don't care about you. They don't. You're listening to some nonsense, and now you're arguing because you don't agree on these little fine nuances of a political stance that means nothing. Who cares about Hillary Clinton's emails? You know what I mean? Who cares?
Yeah.
And I look back at it now, and I don't think I would ever bring up politics or anything like that ever again in any circumstance. Even if someone else was to stoke the flames, I think I would try to divert it so much. Because you're right, man. You got such a short time to argue to the point where you don't want to talk to each other anymore. Sounds devastating at best, and such a waste of momentum and such a waste of energy and effort.
It's a stronger hatred when it's your siblings, right? It's like it burns
it's so
a little
personal.
deeper.
It was personal.
So weird, right?
Yeah. Me and you get into an argument. It ain't nothing personal. I don't know you.
Right, whatever.
This
guy knows me.
Intimately. We had an argument on the carpet in my bedroom at 10 years old. He knows me.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest with you. You had more to unpack than I realized, and I appreciate it, Eddie. So back out to the narrating of the meals. I had a hard time with counting calories, so I was lazy at the beginning, and I'm not going to lie to you. I just ate the same meal twice a day.
Nice.
Yeah, I figured out this is the calories I needed. This was high protein. This is what's going to work for me. I'm willing to eat this for a while, so I just ate it twice a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I needed 2,500 calories, I would get 1,225 and 1,225. I knew exactly. Yeah, it was very simple, and it was dummy proof because I knew that was going to be a stumbling block for me. I knew I was going to falter on counting calories. So I couldn't have 25 meals that all had to be micromanaged down to like a piece of this and a piece of that. There was no way. I would have lost
What
my
were
mind.
the meals? What were the meals?
Eggs, avocados. At the beginning it was ham steaks, but it ended up being like sausage and regular steak. And what else did Well, it morphed. I started getting some beets in there. I started getting some onions in there. I ate some raw vegetables and stuff. But basically, that was like a staple of my meal. And I had that twice a day for, solid 6 months. Because I was in that weight loss. I was in that weight loss journey at the beginning there. And I just needed that high protein. And it worked out.
How'd that turn out?
It worked out fantastic for me. I still almost eat those eggs and avocados and meat, whatever the meat would be. I still do the morning almost every day. My daughter would harass me and the kids. We go back and forth and we'll pick at each other. We definitely have no boundaries when it comes to like, how are you going to eat the same meal every day? And I'm like, it doesn't bother me at all. And it just became more cost effective and more energy effective to have one meal cooked for dinner for everybody. My daughter would be making spaghetti and meat sauce, and I'm over there over top of her trying to make these eggs and steak, and she's like, "You're driving me nuts." So I eventually I capitulated on the second meal. But I do find that clumping my calories together, I always thought you could eat like 7 or 8 meals a day, and I found that to be very difficult to keep that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard to keep that schedule, especially as a nurse.
Yeah.
Much less anyone else that has a regular life, right?
Yeah, and then rushing to get the kids from school, then rushing to get the other kids, and then these guys. Yeah, it was impossible. It was absolutely mind-blowing. So a big meal in the late morning and a big meal in the early evening, and I'm good to go, man.
was like a good deal. Why would you stop if that's how
No,
you?
no, I don't. I'm just saying it was again, it was a trial and error. I was making this up as I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, my family, we all worked in construction. My grandfather was a lumberjack, and then he had properties, and then he did construction. So he never worked out or needed to go to the gym. All my uncles did the same thing, were mechanics or construction workers, so they never hit the gym. No one ever counted calories. I'm sure my grandfather, especially in the 40s and 50s, it was get whatever you could, and hopefully you got enough calories.
Yeah, that was the grown man strength your family grew up on. That's the I'll carry this log as far as I need to carry it. I don't
Yeah,
need to do a
yeah, yeah.
bench press
I
and squat
joke
to
that
do it.
we're very similar. I'm being French Canadian and doing a lot of things we did to come to America. Very similar parallels for the Mexicans coming up north from the south.
Yeah.
So coming to Texas, I'm not gonna lie to you. They made fun of me a little bit. They came to snow beaners or something like that. I think it was
The
one of the
snow
guys.
bean.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, you'd be shocked. We do a lot of the same Catholic stuff. A lot of the poor
Okay.
man food that we had. We had ploys, which is basically like a pancake, but it was like the poor man bread that went with beans, like
Uh,
baked beans. So I
yeah.
could go through a list of poor French things we did and look at the poor Mexican things you do, and they're very very similar in being French Catholic and Spanish Catholic. There are more similarities than you could possibly imagine.
I
And
imagine. Yeah, I can bet. I
yeah,
bet.
yeah. So my grandfather did that. He was a lumberjack. He was poor and family. I think he started doing that at 7, 8 years old. So he literally lived a pretty rough life. So coming to Connecticut was a huge deal. There was a
Yeah.
factory, guaranteed paychecks. You know, some of his brothers were getting fur coats the first year they got to Connecticut because people didn't know what to do with their money. Everybody had a brand new car. They I don't know how California was for your father, but for my grandfather to own a 7, 8 family home was unheard of in Canada and northern Maine out in the woods. That
Oh,
was
so he made it when he came here.
oh yeah, they were burying money.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
said they were burying money, and everybody had new cars and fur coats and acting like
disparity, right? It's a
fools.
lot
Yeah, acting
different.
like
Just
fools
money
at the
and
time.
jobs.
Yeah, but there was Connecticut was unlimited factories. I think my father, when he got out of high school, worked at New Britain Machine. I think they employed that one company employed 10,000 people.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's a big one.
Well, right next door was Stanley Tools that employed thousands of people. There was factory after factory in small cities all across the area where I grew up. I mean, they're all empty now, but in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
50s they were booming
yeah. That sounds like it was just busy and just nonstop, right? I would be
nonstop.
spending on the fur coats myself too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This
Yeah,
place,
so,
this place ain't going anywhere.
but I think that was one of the reasons why I moved too. I wanted that adventure. I wanted that opportunity. And Connecticut being extremely expensive, and having as many kids as I had, I found it hard to buy a house in a nice area. So coming
Yeah,
to Texas,
for
man,
sure.
I found a great area, and I think it was a third of the price of the same thing I would have found in Connecticut.
I'm assuming the taxes are better too.
Taxes, actually, they're not. So they got all
Or
these
is it
they
opposite? Is
have all
Connecticut
these
better?
they have all these exemptions for military and elderly around here because they're trying to draw people in. That because I'm not elderly and I'm not military, I didn't qualify for anything. So I
Okay.
do pay a little
Okay.
bit more than the average person in the area, which is closer to Connecticut than I would like it to be.
I see. Oh, okay. So it ends up being a wash there.
That ends up being a wash, but everything's cheaper in Texas. It really is. The property was exceptionally cheaper. Like I said, about a third of the price. Um, the cars, the food, everything was extremely cheaper in general.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, that's what a lot
I've
of people
noticed in the
are
last
probably
7 years, though.
California leaving.
Yeah, I've noticed the cost of living though seems to be equaling out. Property, food, everything seems to be becoming more equal nationwide really fast now. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, equally high.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
I think
equally going
inflation
down
is
at all.
equalizing everything to a far more level playing field, which kind of stinks. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
there's nowhere left to go if you want to save money, unless you go to
yeah. Well, I
nowhere.
mean, and that's the I remember reading about real estate being an, an inflation hedge, and that's why you play both ends, right? Like you're happy as a real estate owner when inflation is going on, but as a consumer, you're also kind of hurting on the other side, right? So that's kind of just playing the game at this point. Like we can complain or we can just kind of learn how it works and just
Yes, yes, I've
do
learned
what we
that
can.
too. If you're going to fight the machine, you're going to just lose. You might as well find
Yeah,
the targets that fit in the parameters of the rules they gave you and just try to run with it, whether it be just hustle and work hard or work smart, which definitely is the better case in vast
for
majority
the
of
longest
scenarios.
time, I would complain or I would just be like, I would never do any social media or I would never do TikTok. And then I think that's probably how you found me, right? About a month
Yeah.
ago, I started doing TikTok videos and people just kept actually that one video kept getting more and more people. So um, I know that's, if you don't change, you're always going to complain or move somewhere or never move, progress, which
And if you're
is definitely
complaining,
less.
your mind's fighting against you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for
literally, you're
sure.
complaining instead of being grateful and having your mind face the direction you want to go. Griping and arguing with yourself is self defeating.
That's a
It
good one.
really it seems to be one of the factors that keeps you from progressing. So I noticed when you do get something good, like you lose a little bit of weight, or you start working out a little bit more, or you buy a piece of property, that mechanism that turns you into the person you're becoming keeps on snowballing. So it's like once you get that fire going, you got to throw some gasoline on it
Yeah,
because you don't
the
know where it's going to
compound effect,
stop.
right?
Yeah, because you don't know where that's going to stop. You don't even know if it's going to stop. Like you said, when I asked you about like the weight gain and the bulking up, is there a limit? Well, why would you even ask that question? The goal is just to keep on lighting that fire and see where it
Yeah.
leads.
Whether I wake up tomorrow with abs or not, my behaviors ends up being the same, right? I'm still going
Yeah,
to do my cardio, still going to eat a certain way, still going to
which means your
follow
mind
certain
is on the
things.
same direction and the same trajectory, the same path as the rest of you. So I mean, it is. It's a mind game. It's a whole mind game.
Yeah, in the end, isn't it all?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So that leads me to the question of what do you think takes to get traction on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff? What do you think is a very big catalyst for that momentum?
I think the what got me on TikTok was right before I was created my first TikTok video. I was planning on doing exactly what I'm doing. Put a video content course on nutrition training and just like sell it. And I said, I don't need more money now. I get paid handsomely as a nurse, handsomely as these 5 clients that take care of me. Like, what do I really want? And what I want is what we kind of talked about in the beginning is I want to share this message with people that I wish I had 10 years ago. So it literally, the way I look at it is that my next, each and every video should be like a course or a video, an educational video of someone that already paid for the program. They're just not paying for the program. They're just watching it for free. Right. And I think that's where people see, and I've gotten, endless comments of, this is very helpful. Like I wish I heard this sooner. And that's where I'm gauging success. Right. And then there's one of my first videos is the one that went viral. And I think that's the one that just keeps getting me more and more people because people are either referring that video, saving it on their bookmarks, which I see on there, or their favorites or whatever it's called. Um, and just commenting and messaging. And that's what, for whatever algorithm is working at the time, keeps getting more and more people and they just get on the page.
That's great. Very cool,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
So, what is the hardest thing that you've had to overcome in the last couple of years?
Relationships. Yeah, for sure. I was in a long relationship for about 6, 7 years. We moved in together. We had kids. We had not kids. Sorry, we had dogs. And I remember just thinking, like, at some point, kind of, we were together in the beginning and moved on. We're gonna be like 20 years old and then 26, 27. And I remember thinking at the end, just like, I don't want to stay in something just because I've been in it for so long. If I just think we've just evolved to different people. And that was probably one of the hardest things to tell someone that you've been living with. You've grown up, we went to school together. Um, that hey, I don't think it's not gonna work out, right? Like I'm gonna move back to my parents, let you kind of figure this out, and I'll continue paying the rent. I'll continue paying everything because I felt like an asshole telling my girlfriend or the girl I've been with for a long time, telling her I'm gonna be with her, that all of a sudden, hey, it's not gonna work out. But in doing that, there was many reasons why. No one did anything bad. Like she wasn't like a bad person, but just mindsets were different. And I think it one opened up the concept of if I think something is wrong, act on it, and if
Yeah,
I want to change something, do it. So
yeah,
what I rather be okay with myself than worry about what other people are going to say about me, and because I'm the one that I got to sleep with myself at night every night, right? So that was hard, but I think it was the best decision, not only for me, probably for her, right? Because maybe there's an opening for someone else is probably better off for her, and for sure for me, it's been nothing but great things since.
Eddie, I respect that a lot, man. That was raw and real, man. I appreciate it.
I got nothing to hold back on.
No, I respect that a lot because that opens the door for way more truth, and it's a lot easier to deal with the truth than to try to bend the fabric of reality because it ends up snapping at you anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah, it always
yeah,
it
for sure.
always it always unbends itself eventually. You
Yeah,
know,
that's like the
so
first thing that came to mind when you asked that question, so I have to say it.
yeah, that's great, man. I think we all have to deal with that anyways. Life is way more similar for all of us than we realize, and we're all way more interconnected than we realize. So we all go through a very similar journey, and I think a lot of this social media stuff gives us a chance to really see that we're not the only ones struggling with relationships or
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
find the truth immediately and not try to bend reality and pretend it's going to be okay if I just wait a little bit longer. Because, like you said, man, what if there is a better guy out there for her, and you hold it back another year because you think, we could kick this down the road a little bit longer, and before you know it, you and her suffer a little bit more unnecessarily. You know,
yeah,
and
for
and,
sure.
and that's a hard place to be, man. Especially if there's comfort and familiarity. I've already been with you for this many years. It's way easier for my mom. It's way easier for this. And you got to explain it. I understand, man, and I respect it a
Yeah.
lot because I had to go through a couple things too. Like I said, we all have to do similar
That's
stuff,
what
man.
I find a lot of people relate to the story, so that's why I'm open with sharing
Well,
it, just because I see both ends, right? I see guys that like they stuck with their girl and maybe they're still not happy, or they just didn't want to like end it because they were with them for so long and they had kids and everything. Luckily, we didn't have kids, so it was
yeah,
an easier decision for me. But when you find out there's other people dealing with the same thing, just in different scenarios, it makes it a little easier to kind of like swallow whole and kind of act on it.
and being honest with yourself when you say it too, it resonates. It resonates a lot, man. So
Yeah,
I
for
appreciate
sure.
it, man, and I thank you for your time. I wish I had more time, Eddie. I enjoyed the conversation more than you know. Feel free to plug all your stuff right now, man. Go ahead and throw out your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever you want, and I'll
The
make sure
only
to get
one
it out
I'm
there.
gonna plug, yeah, the only one that I'll plug is the TikTok. That's the only one I'm really focused on.
Okay.
Eddie Lara 04. The other ones, I look at my Instagram at like a Facebook now, like Facebook was back in the day, and I look at TikTok like the Instagram was back in the day. It was the new thing that everyone's on now. That's where attention is.
Yeah.
So that's the only one I want to talk about. If you have any inquiries or you want to email me, my email's on there. So Eddie Lara 04.
04. All right, man. I appreciate your time, man. You have a great day.
All right, Rick and Eddie, have a good one. Thank you so much for today.
Absolutely, man. All right.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Weather is good, sun is shining, shining. Don't get my vibe.